Right, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Waharakah Kodash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. I honor you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And 2025 right now, see how the thing's set. Esau, Edom, man. We keep telling you about Revelation 12 and 12, man. This devil is gonna come down with great fury because he knows he have but a short time. So you're gonna see more and more events. All right, more and more events, sacrifices, bloodletting, which is gonna lead right up to the time of Jacob's trouble when it gets real for real. Because even in the New Year's Eve of destruction, I was speaking about when people get killed, they ain't around for too long before the services come and collect them. And same thing with what happened in New Orleans. You know, it weren't long before they collected all them bodies, and they in the morgue right now. And there's gonna be funerals, possibly. Who knows what's gonna happen? But generally speaking, in the next week or two, there's gonna be funerals if we're still here, and people are gonna be mourning. But you see that the time's coming where when stuff like that happens, ain't nobody gonna be out there to pick up them bodies, man. Them bodies is gonna be let where they fell. That's where they're gonna stay, or someone just gonna pile them up somewhere on the street to get them out of the way of the vehicles, and that's it. So it's gonna get real. The time's fast approaching, and 2025 could very well be that year where shit goes to the next level. The next level. All right, but I want to talk about Revelations 13 because the motb infrastructure, it's almost ready and prepared for the manifestation of the prophecy. All right, so Revelations 13 and 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, right, with the charagma, which is, we teach correctly, is the implantable RFID chip, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the number of the beast or the number of his name. So you're going to need this mark in order to interact with this man's system, to buy and sell goods and services. All right, to be a citizen, you're going to need this mark. All right, and behind that mark is an infrastructure, a digital infrastructure, which encompasses a lot of things. All right, a lot of technology had to be developed in order to bring about the beast system. It's not just something where they're going to put an empty chip in your hand. Well, what will the chip do? If you just input a chip into someone's hand, it does nothing. All right. You need an infrastructure. It's just the same as if you have a laptop by itself. That's not the internet. If you want the laptop to do what it's doing now, you needed an infrastructure. You needed an internet. All right. That's all part of the infrastructure. All right. You need the internet. You need processing capabilities. You need different softwares. You need AIs. All these technologies that we've seen become ubiquitous and are coming to the forefront of every area of life, and every industry is incorporating these technologies. It's because it's ultimately going to be put together in one as part of the motb system, their new world order. All right. And one of the things that we mentioned before is this whole idea of carbon credits, right? Carbon credits is part of the MOTB system. It's part of the reasoning behind why they're gonna want to control everything that people are buying and selling, all right, through this carbon credit system. So I'm gonna play this, all right, and we already broke it down to you, all right. In fact, let me get another scripture before I play this, right? Right, this is Proverbs 14 and 15. This is the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. Esau preys on the simplicity of the masses. The average in person, even in the education system, you can have someone that's sitting there in the education system regurgitating what they're taught, sorry, without actually thinking about what they're being taught. Because I learned when I studied university, geography and science was like my thing. That was the two subjects that I excelled in, geography and science. So I understand a lot of scientific things very well. And I'm always into science, even to this day. I don't mind sitting there watching a lecture on electricity or whatever the stuff like. I'm into science, right? But I also think. And the thing is, when you start dealing with Esau has a way of deceiving you in the scientific realms. But even when, they had the whole thing about global warming, right? In environmental science, they show you the what's it called? The equation they use to calculate the temperature of the earth. And even within the calculation, like CO2 and all those other things don't really affect the temperature of the earth like that. It's like it's BS. It's absolute BS what these men are doing. What really affects the temperature of the earth is the activity of the sun. That is the main that is actually what affects the temperature of the earth. So if the sun's activity is increased, then ultimately the temperature of the earth increases. If the sun's activity decreases, then ultimately the temperature of the earth decreases. And that's what affects weather patterns. Weather patterns are affected by the activity of the sun, right? Not by you using your car. But that's why it says a simple believeth every word. Now, why would they want to create a crisis around carbon? Because everything we do can be controlled through carbon, because everything requires energy, and all pretty much all energy has some form of a connection to the carbon life cycle. All right. But a carbon life cycle is a cycle, and it's a balanced cycle. It balances itself out. But I always understood that if you wanted to control all human activity, the carbon cycle would be the way to do it, and that's exactly why they've picked it. Because if you tell someone, oh, we need to control carbon, that means everything you do up to and including breathing, just being alive, has to be controlled, because every second that you're alive, you are contributing to the carbon footprint, carbon cycle. All right. So that's why that scripture says the simple believeth every word, because they sit these people down in schools and they teach them about global warming and tell them about their carbon footprint and all this garbage. And if they had any real scientific understanding of what was going on, they'd straight away clock on that, hold on, this is BS. Because if there's more carbon dioxide in the air, then the balance of the situation would be that the plants would consume more carbon dioxide from the air, and also the ocean would absorb more carbon dioxide and balance the equation. Like, it automatically will always balance itself because it's a cycle. But this, Esau's gonna fix it, and his solution, as usual, is according to his own mechanizations, man. All right. So let's check this out. I want to play this, and this plays
So,
into the
food.
MOTB. This is what they want.
Food. Well, according to the report, a packet of cheese accounts for 1.1 kilograms of CO2, over 25% of your daily allowance. Red meat? Forget it. If you spent your entire 4 kg allowance on steak, you'd get around 8 ounces of meat. While meat and dairy products have the highest carbon footprints, 2 slices of bread would account for just 3%, while a can of Coke just 4. So basically, diabetes is on the menu. But don't worry, Big Pharma will have you covered, because medications and healthcare products will not be factored into your daily carbon limit. But here's where things get terrifying. They're not just suggesting it, they're testing it. Food manufacturers are already slapping carbon labels on their products. And let's not forget the food supply chain either. These policies directly threaten local farmers and producers, as red meat gets penalized heavily, while synthetic lab grown meat is being propped up as a solution. The fashion industry contributes approximately 10% of global carbon emissions, with much of the impact coming from production.
Yeah, which is all again, all of this was by design. The fashion industry produces way too much clothes for what people actually need. And that's why you have a sale every month. It used to be you had 2 sales a year. Now every month is a sale because there's so many seasons, and it's actually detrimental to the planet. But they're doing it on purpose. It's order ab chaos. You cause chaos through overproduction to give you the cause to come in and absolutely control the production. And that's really what they want. They would, if you read Agenda 2030 with understanding, you would know that basically that's what it's all about. Reduce all production down to a bare minimum, and you give the people the bare minimum. You control everything that they have. You control everything they can and can't do, what they can buy and what they can sell. Right? This is the motb system.
Transportation, which is now your problem. A single cotton t-shirt will cost you 2.1 kilograms of CO2. Synthetics will cost you much more, and if you like leather, just buy it now. But you can save those carbon credits by purchasing used clothes. So, how about travel? The average person burns through 2.3 kg per day going about their daily lives. However, if you ever see yourself going on vacation again, you're going to want to start biking or walking to work because a typical round trip via airplane from London to New York emits approximately 1,600 kilograms of CO2 per person, equating to 80 days of your total carbon allowance.
And this is why, the whole thing between the CBDCs and them being programmable, because right now people have an idea of what money is, which money for them is a value. But ultimately, in the new system, the MOTB, it's not really about value anymore. It's literally just a way of what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. Tokenizing and quantifying resources that they could be allocated. But people are so used to the way that things work now, where if you've got enough money, you can buy this. You can buy any amount of anything you want. So if I get paid $1,000, I can take that $1,000 and buy $1,000 of steak, right? Because that's how money works. As long as you've got the money, you can buy whatever you want, wherever you want, as long as you can meet the cost, right? The system that they're bringing in is actually you're just going to be able to buy what you're allowed to buy at any one given time. It's completely different to how this system works now. And that's why a lot of people don't understand it, because they think that this system as it is now, they're going to bring a new system which is just like this. It's not, it's completely different. It's a system that just completely removes all form of freedom and liberty. You're going to be living on a ration. Okay, but that's Esau Edom for you, man. It's slavery. It's no different than basically hardcore chattel slavery, where your slaves don't own anything and you give them whatever you give them by ration. They have no agency of their own.
The PCA guidelines. Heating accounts for a significant share of household emissions, especially in colder climates, with the average household burning through 6 kg of CO2 per day. The recommended solution? Be cold. or fork over a bunch of money to install renewable energy sources in your home. There's also an allowance for leisure and entertainment. Streaming services, gaming, or internet usage at home or on your phone relies on data centers powered by electricity. So, that will cost you. Going to a concert or a ball game? Well, that involves travel, lighting, and heating or cooling. Boom, pay the toll. You like gardening, DIY projects, or recreational sports? Those all involve resource consumption, and there's no free lunch in
So,
the credit.
like I said, and I already understood this from the minute they were talking about it, because again, the prudent man looketh well to his going. The simple believeth every word. If you're telling me that you want to quantify and control carbon, you're telling me you want to quantify and control everything, because everything, no matter what process it is on this planet Earth, every area of human activity requires or has a carbon footprint. You're taking a piss now.
Carbon world. Now, you might be thinking, surely this is just a trial. Wrong. This isn't just being tested, it's being planned. In the UK white paper, they openly admit that their goal is to encourage behavior towards implementing this system. They're normalizing the idea that your lifestyle is subject to bureaucratic quotas handed down by governments that live in luxury while telling you to eat less meat. Surprisingly, Here's where it gets dystopian. The system isn't about reducing emissions where it matters. The report itself acknowledges that 70% of carbon emissions come from sectors beyond individual control, including industry, exports, and military operations. But instead of tackling those, they're coming after you. You see, this isn't about reducing carbon, it's about reducing you.
Of course it's not, because they know that carbon is not the issue. It's just the excuse. It's all about bringing in that MOTB infrastructure, the MOTB system, where they can control your every activity. All right. They want to be like the Most High. They want to control everything.
Restricting how far you can travel, what you can eat, and ultimately how much freedom you can enjoy. And once this system is linked to digital IDs and centralized banking, the consequences of exceeding your carbon limit.
Right. It's a link. That system is linked to digital IDs and centralized banking. So again, that's why we say that there's all these different. It's all part of the infrastructure. Everything you see that they're unrolling, right, plays its part in this new system, and it's all going to come together. But the average person sees everything separately, so they'll see digital IDs separate to CBDCs. They'll see, the internet separate to RFIDs, and the AIs. Everything will be looks like it's separate when ultimately it's all gonna come together as part of one system that can control everything you do. All right. That's why they one of the big things in big tech right now is interoperability. Systems being able to communicate with each other. Okay?
Overspend on travel or food this month, you can be locked out of making non-essential purchases. And if you think that's far-fetched, China's social credit system operates on the same principles: track, regulate, and punish. And this trial isn't happening in a vacuum. Similar proposals are being floated globally. The EU's Fit for 55 program is pushing personal carbon tracking. The World Economic Forum published reports in 2022 advocating for individual carbon quotas tied to digital IDs. Even the Canadian Climate Accountability Act includes language that promotes integration.
So what they're doing is that through the media and these different initiatives, they're planting the seed in the minds of the people that this is the solution, and for these different problems. And then so what happens is, once they bring the major crisis that they're about to bring down the pipeline, it's easier for people to accept when these things are made mandatory, because they've already been what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Prepped. They've already been prepped to receive it mentally. Especially the youth, because they shove this stuff down their throats in schools, global warming and all this crap, right? It's shoved down their throats, like, you know what I mean?
Personalized carbon targets. As for the typical political hypocrisy, the same elites pushing this nonsense aren't giving up their private jets or lavish lifestyles.
Yeah, of course, because the elites, they're not slaves, so they'll have control of this system, these AIs. And then the one thing they push is like the AI will be working, um, by itself and all. No, the AI is gonna do what it's programmed to do. It's gonna serve its masters. Right? The AIs are like the angels of Esau, right? That's what they're designed to be. They're not like humans, right? So they can design them and make them the perfect taskmasters over the rest of the people. And then these idiots will accept it, because they'll be like, well, it's better off having an AI running things, because the AI is not like people. Not knowing it's people that created the AI, you donut. You know what I mean? But that's why they're they're exposing all these politicians, and because ultimately they'll want to turn governance over to AI. That's the solution, because these politicians are corrupt. So if we put AI in control of everything, it's not going to be corrupt. As if the people who are putting the AI in power are not corrupt. It's a joke, but that's why you have a shy go and come back and put an end to all this foolishness.
2022 alone, 1,040 private jets landed in Davos for the WEF summit, just so billionaires could lecture the rest of us about cutting emissions and personal carbon tracking. So here's the truth. Personal carbon allowances won't stop climate change. They will, however, stop you from living freely.
Yeah, that's why they had to change it from global warming to climate change, because global warming is it was too easily disproven. But you can't disprove climate change, because the climate always changes. The earth goes through cycles of different climates. That's just how it is. It ebbs and flows with the activity of the sun. You go back 1,000 years, the climate was different. It goes in cycles. There's times when it's warmer, and therefore there's more extremes of different weather patterns. Sorry, there's times when it's warmer, so generally speaking, it's more um what's it called, stable, the weather. And there's times when it cools. That's known as a solar minimum, and that's where you get extremes in weather patterns, which is what we're seeing right now, because we've entered into what's known as a solar minimum, right, and a reduction in solar activity. So you see a lot of extreme weather patterns, and what comes with that is a lot of shifting of seasons, things of that nature, which is all set up by the Lord, because the Lord is the one that controls the the turning of the sun and its activity and all those different things. That's all the in the Lord's control.
They'll hollow out the middle class, decimate local agriculture, and concentrate power in the hands of the global elite. They're testing this in the UK, but trust me, it's headed here too. And many of us know that this is the cornerstone of left-wing politics. Whether we're talking carbon tax, green slush funds, mandating electric vehicles, or net
Is that left wing? The right wing is onto it too. Elon Musk and all them, man. See, this all left wing, right wing. It's all bullshit. They're all this agenda is gonna go forward regardless. Donald Trump is gonna push this. He absolutely is gonna push this.
zero. It is their hill to die on, and as far as I can see, it has very little to do with the climate and everything to do with control. Food. Well, according
Yep. And so yeah, I saw this and I thought, yeah, this is part of the prophecy, man. That we're reading in Revelations. When you're seeing this infrastructure being rolled out, just know that it's not going to be long where they put that chip in people, man. Right? Because that's the final piece. Right? The fourth industrial revolution. Yeah, that's the final piece. Yeah, fusing man with machine by putting these different chips and these technologies inside the body. All right? Put these devices inside. Right? Psalm 64. Right? Verse 1, it says, Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Because Esau, Edom, and their elites and their puppets are our enemies, man. They're not our friends. And a lot of our people can't understand that. That's why they're picking and choosing. Oh yeah, like, oh, I'm so smart now. I'm with Trump, because black people, all this bullshit. Or I'm with the Democrats. Bro, none of these people, all of these people are your enemy because they're actively building an infrastructure which seeks to put you into hardcore slavery. So they're all your enemy. Every single last one of them. All these corporations and all, they're all part of building this system around you. They know exactly what they're doing. All right. The only one that's on our side is Yahweh Shai. So that's why we gotta follow him. Because these Edomites, man, they're not with us. None of them. All right. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. And that evil matter is known as the New World Order. The New World Order is an evil matter because it represents Esau's rebellion, Esau completing his rebellion against the Most High. Esau becoming his own God, establishing his own will, establishing his own blessing, and his attempt to break prophecy. And that's what this is all about. He wants to break the word of the Lord by establishing for himself an everlasting kingdom through witchcraft and his own wisdom. That is what this whole thing is all about. If you watch like a lot of these like supernatural and all that, fate and prophecy in supernatural is an enemy. As you watch the programs, because that's what Esau fears the most: prophecy and fate. And this is why what witchcraft is all about. If you look at one of the prevailing themes in popular media, it's all about you can change your own fate. You can manifest your own destiny. You can make your own will happen. You can do whatever you want. This is the God complex. Our understanding is our will can only be done if it is the will of the Lord. So we humble ourselves to the Lord's will, because there is no other will outside the Lord's. The Bible tells you rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, because that's what witchcraft is. When you go into what witchcraft is all about, it's utilizing different sciences to establish your own will. Like when you're talking about sex magic and all blood magic and hexes and all these things are all about your will. They're not about prophecy. They're not about the will of the Lord. It's about you manifesting your own will in the earth. And that's what all these rituals that Esau's doing is all about. It's all about him manifesting his own will, because he knows that according to the will of the Heavenly Father, he is destined to be destroyed. And he's like, no, I'm going to find a way to overthrow the words of the Lord and establish my own word. But obviously, we know that's not going to happen. Like, you fool. All right, you fool. Like, no, there's no witchcraft out there. Even the Lord set you up with that. How you going to use the Lord's own system against him? It don't make no sense. You know what I mean? Like witchcraft. This is why witchcraft makes no sense. Because how can you think that it's like saying you've jailbreak the world. You've jailbreaked it, so now you have the power. Now, no, you don't. You never did. It was all an illusion. The Lord is allowing you to do anything that you do. And case in point, like I always say, because witchcraft only works until it don't work. You go back into Egypt, their magi's, they had the power, they had the witchcraft, but then how come it didn't work when the 10 plagues came? Because it only works until it don't work. It's ultimately all the Lord. There ain't nobody that's outside of his will and his power. That's why Yahweh said to Pilate, man, you have no power to do nothing unto me than what was given unto you from on high. The Lord controls everything, man. The left and the right. Esau, you should know about that. You know what I mean? But it says they encourage themselves in an evil matter, that New World Order. And the key to that New World Order is the motb. It just is. That's how the thing's manifesting. But the problem is that they're gonna establish their new world order only as far as is prophecy, and then it's gonna come to an end. They're not gonna be able to go past that bounds, and it don't matter how much sacrifices they make, or what witchcraft, or what numerology, or gematria, or whatever form of witchcraft you try to stack up. Yeah, you get all the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stack them all up in a line. It's not gonna work, brother. You're done out here. All right, Yahweh Shai comes. That's the end of it. That is the end of it, period. When Yahweh Shai makes his appearance, that is the end of you, Esau. There's no witchcraft for that. Trust me, there's nothing. There's no hidden book of knowledge of secrets that's going to make you overcome when the Son of the Lord uh, 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 um, produces himself. You're finished. You're done out here, fam. Yeah? You're done out here. It's over. You can get the Ouija board and consult with a million demons. It's not going to help you in that moment. That's when you're going to find out that really you never had any power to begin with. It was all a lie. The Lord had you in a trick bag. Pride wasn't made for men. You should know that. Anyway, it says they commune of laying snares privily. Yeah, this whole time all these different technologies and these systems that they've brought forth into the world and act like it's making life more convenient for the people and it's for the people. Meanwhile, these things were always meant to be a snare, to be a trap. These things were brought forth because they had an agenda in the back of their mind. That's what a snare is, a trap. Just like a rat, they see the cheese is there ready to eat. Oh, that's convenient. I didn't even have to, and then, but really, it's a trap. It's a snare that's gonna get you caught up. But that's what this man's done with all these different systems. Right? They say, who shall see them? Right? Because very few people can see the snare. We can see the snare because we know the prophecy, we know the scriptures, and the Lord's working with us. But very few people can see the snare, how they're being manipulated every day to accept their own slavery that's coming down the pipeline. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities, right? They accomplish a diligent search. It's taken them hundreds of years, trillions of dollars, and a whole bunch of scientists and men of wisdom and understanding in the sciences to bring it to the situation now where they have the technology to manifest the MOTB. See, they couldn't have done the mark of the beast 100 years ago. They couldn't have done the mark of the beast 200 years ago because the technology and the infrastructure didn't exist. So imagine everything has had to happen to bring us to this point right now in 2025. That's a lot of diligence. That's a lot of research. A lot of planning has gone into bringing the world to where it is today. And you got to give Esau a hand. Yeah, because this thing is multi-generational. Man have died before this thing. They've seen this thing come to pass. And that's what people don't realize. When you're looking at these elites, you're looking at the Lord put a stubborn and determined spirit on these elites because this plan has been going since 1776. Think about that. This plan that we're seeing here now that's being orchestrated, the Lord put this in their minds way back in 1776. This isn't something that they just came up with 10 years ago. They've been come up with this whole plan on what they need to do. They got visions and all that. And then generation after generation has taught the next generation, and each generation has continued this work to bring us up to this point where prophecy can be fulfilled. That's amazing, right? It's not going to end well for them, but it's still amazing. So when you see these old Rothschilds die, it's like, oh, okay, they had a dad that was also, and he died, and they had a dad before them that died. That's just how it is. These men haven't escaped the cycle of death. But the agenda continues. The agenda continues. The queen supposedly is dead. So what? She had a father and a mother before her, and they died before her. I remember when the queen mother died. They pass the agenda and the inheritance down to their children as they go along. But you see, what they're also passing on is a curse, and they don't realize that it's gonna come to that. All right, but these men have been very diligent to bring this thing to where it is today. Just look at what's happened in the last 100 years, and think that the Edomites who started it 100 years ago, so to speak, who were there, are not here today. They all died without seeing the work complete. It's their grandchildren and that's going to complete the work and be disappointed, as we're going to get. It says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. All right, these men are extremely deep with their thinking, extreme cunning. You know what I'm saying? That's what's brought about this whole system to where it is today. But it says, but God shall shoot of them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All men shall fear and shall declare the work of God, for they shall wisely consider his doing. Yeah, how the Lord set these men up, how the Lord was in control from the very beginning, and the fact that the Lord writ it all down for everybody to see. Yeah, it's like, yo, like, it wasn't a secret, so to speak, because it's right here. All right. And you sat there and thought you was slick. Thought you was slick. Slick Rick. And you did everything that I said you was going to do, even up until your own destruction, thinking that you were being smart. And that's why the scripture says he taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Because when you really think about it, Esau is fulfilling prophecy. Even though his goal is to overturn prophecy. That's crazy. That's insane, right? Yeah, I'll give you some food, man. Just wait for... Oh, there's food down there, man. Go away. Yeah. That's how it goes, man. Esau is gonna be made an example of, man, the ultimate fool, right? Because basically he dug his own grave. How what? The man dig his own grave. That's a fool. All right. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust in Him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. Yeah, that shows you that we can trust. You can't trust in Esau because he's a fool, but you could trust in the Lord because He's the one that's in control. Esau's not in control. He think he in control. Man, do a few rituals and run a few programs, and he thinks he's in control, but he's not really in control. And he's gonna find that out perfectly when Yahweh Shai comes back. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.